Women over 60. Stop these 5 bathroom habits if you don't want to smell bad.
Welcome to Wise Life After 60. So grateful to have you here. Have you ever caught your reflection in the mirror and wondered why, despite all your efforts to stay clean and fresh, something feels off? It is one of those unspoken truths of aging. The body changes in ways we rarely discuss openly, and those changes quietly affect how others experience our presence. For women over 60, even the most ordinary routines in the bathroom, how we wash, how we dry, how we store, even how we care for clothing, can leave behind subtle traces that grow into something noticeable. Not perfume, not soap, but the kind of scent that lingers and makes us feel less like ourselves. In today's video, we're exploring 5 bathroom habits that many women over 60 never realize are making them smell unpleasant, even when they believe they are perfectly hygienic. Before we begin, tap that like button and subscribe to Wise Life After 60, where we share timeless wisdom and practical lessons for aging with grace, presence, and self-respect. Now, let us begin with the first bathroom habit, one so common that most women overlook it, yet it quietly shapes whether they leave behind a fragrance of freshness or a shadow of neglect.
Habit number 1. Using too much soap. It sounds counterintuitive, doesn't it? We imagine that the more soap we use, the fresher we will be. But the truth is quite the opposite. As we grow older, our skin changes. It becomes thinner, drier, and more fragile. The natural oils that once protected us begin to fade, and when we scrub too harshly or lather excessively, we strip away not only the dirt, but also the balance that keeps skin healthy. What is left behind is irritation, dryness, and, ironically, a greater tendency for the skin to retain odors. Think of Miriam, a woman in her late 60s who prided herself on being immaculately clean. For decades, she had believed that freshness came from effort, strong scrubbing, fragrant soaps, and frequent showers. Every morning, she bathed with enthusiasm, and often again at night, convinced that this routine would keep her smelling pleasant. She bought bars of soap with strong perfumes, scrubbing until her skin sometimes turned red, believing that if she felt a sting, it meant she was truly clean. But Miriam began to notice something troubling. Even after all this effort, she still felt self-conscious. There was a faint sourness to her skin, a dryness that seemed to hold odors instead of releasing them. She increased her routine, showering more often, adding more products, layering lotions and powders in hopes of masking what she thought was her body failing her. Yet the harder she tried, the less confident she felt. Her bathroom shelves became crowded with bottles and bars, but her sense of freshness continued to slip further away. It wasn't until a visit with her doctor that Miriam began to see the problem differently. The doctor explained that with age, skin naturally loses its protective oils, becoming thinner and more fragile. The very scrubbing Miriam thought was helping was in fact stripping away her body's natural defenses, leaving her skin dry and more likely to hold unpleasant odors. The heavily perfumed soaps she loved so much were disrupting the skin's balance, creating irritation rather than freshness. At first, Miriam was skeptical. How could doing less possibly lead to feeling cleaner? But she trusted the advice and decided to make small changes.
She switched to a mild, fragrance-free cleanser, showered once a day instead of twice, and treated her skin with a gentle moisturizer afterward. Within weeks, she noticed something remarkable. Her skin no longer felt tight and itchy. The faint sourness faded. She felt fresher, not because she had added more, but because she had finally stopped fighting her own body. Looking back, Miriam realized that what she thought was extra cleanliness had been working against her all along. What truly restored her confidence was not intensity, but gentleness. She learned that at her age, hygiene was not about scrubbing harder, but about listening to her body with kindness and wisdom. Freshness comes not from attacking the body with more, but from listening to what it needs and choosing gentleness over aggression. A small adjustment, a lighter touch, a more natural product, these quiet changes restore dignity and confidence without the unintended consequence of carrying unwanted odors. So, the first bathroom habit to reconsider is the excessive use of soap. Less, in this case, truly is more. And when practiced wisely, it becomes not only a habit of hygiene, but a reflection of care, a reminder that our bodies deserve kindness, not punishment. Next, let us move to the second bathroom habit, one that hides not in what we put on our skin, but in what we overlook when caring for the very clothes that rest against it.
Habit number 2. Neglecting fresh clothing care. We often assume that as long as we bathe, our cleanliness is assured. But what we sometimes forget is that fabric, especially undergarments, towels, and nightclothes, absorbs not only sweat, but oils, lotions, and natural scents. When they are not washed thoroughly or changed often enough, they begin to hold odors that no soap or perfume can disguise. Marcus Aurelius wrote in his Meditations that the soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts. In the same way, fabric becomes dyed with the presence of our daily lives. The body may be clean, but if the cloth that touches it carries yesterday's residue, the impression we leave is no longer freshness, but staleness. The clothes we wear quietly tell others how carefully we respect ourselves. As we age, our skin's oils change, our sweat composition shifts, and clothing absorbs more than we realize. Neglecting fabric care is one of the most overlooked reasons older women begin to notice lingering odors. And unlike the body, clothing does not heal itself. It keeps what it is given until we cleanse it. So the second bathroom habit to reconsider is neglecting clothing and fabric care. Freshness is not just about the body, but about the things that touch it day after day. When we treat these fabrics with the same care we give ourselves, we extend dignity not only to our skin, but to the invisible aura we carry into every room. And I'd love to ask you, have you ever noticed how the simple act of putting on freshly laundered clothes can transform not only how others perceive you, but how you feel within yourself? Share your reflections in the comments below. Your story may remind another woman that self-respect begins not only in the bathroom mirror, but in the fabrics closest to her skin. Habit number 3. Overlooking oral care and fresh breath. Let me tell you about Patricia, a 68-year-old grandmother who loved nothing more than hosting Sunday dinners. Her table was always dressed with fresh flowers, her roast chicken perfectly seasoned, and her laughter rang through the house like music. She carried herself with elegance, always well-dressed, hair carefully styled, and a graceful confidence that spoke of a life well lived. On the surface, Patricia appeared to embody freshness and dignity, yet she began to notice something that unsettled her. During conversations, her grandchildren sometimes pulled back slightly when she leaned in to tell a story. Friends at book club kept a polite distance during discussions, and even her closest companion seemed to turn his face just enough to avoid direct closeness. Patricia could not understand it. She bathed daily, wore clean clothes, and brushed her teeth each morning without fail. What more could be done? The answer arrived unexpectedly during a routine dental appointment. Her dentist, with kind honesty, explained that time and medication had changed her mouth. Saliva production had slowed, leaving her with what is commonly called dry mouth. Plaque had built up around her bridge, and her gums were quietly inflamed. Though her teeth appeared clean at a glance, unseen bacteria were producing odors that no mint or quick rinse could mask. In short, her oral care had not kept pace with the realities of aging. Patricia was stunned. She had always thought freshness was about the visible: clean skin, tidy hair, well-pressed clothing. But here she was, discovering that the very first impression she gave, the breath that carried her words and laughter, was quietly working against her. She left the appointment reflective, even a little humbled, realizing that while she had been diligent in some areas of self-care, she had overlooked the one that spoke first to others. Determined to change, Patricia began to adapt her habits. She brushed not only in the morning, but also at night, flossed carefully, and added an alcohol-free mouthwash recommended by her dentist. She took greater care of her dental bridge, soaking it overnight, and carried a small bottle of water with her during the day to ease dryness. Within weeks, she noticed the change not only in her mouth, but in the way people responded to her. Her grandchildren once again climbed easily onto her lap. Her friends leaned closer during lively debates, and even her companion sat near without hesitation. Looking back, Patricia admitted that this lesson was bigger than oral hygiene. It was about humility, the willingness to learn that even after decades of routine, life asks us to adapt. She realized that freshness is not something you secure once and for all. It is something you must cultivate with attention, especially as the body changes with age. The Greek thinker Heraclitus once said, "Character is destiny." In a similar way, the mouth is the gateway of our presence. It carries our words, our laughter, our warmth. When neglected, it also carries signals of disregard. But when cared for, it affirms dignity and respect. Oral hygiene is not simply medical, it is social, emotional, even relational. Many women hesitate to laugh loudly or speak closely for fear of judgment, but when oral care becomes part of daily ritual, it restores freedom, the freedom to speak, to smile, to draw near without self-consciousness. Coming up next, let us move to the fourth bathroom habit, one that hides in plain sight in the small items many women keep for years without realizing they may be carrying scents of age: old towels, washcloths, and grooming tools.
Habit number 4. Holding on to old towels and tools. These items are so ordinary, so woven into daily life that we often stop noticing them. A favorite towel may feel soft with years of use, a washcloth may seem harmless, and a hairbrush may sit on the counter for a decade without question. Yet what we fail to see is that fibers, bristles, and fabrics hold onto moisture, oils, and bacteria in ways the body cannot wash away. Over time, they begin to carry odors that cling back to us each time we use them. The Greek philosopher Plato taught that renewal is part of life,
that nothing material is meant to last unchanged. We deceive ourselves when we believe that familiar objects stay the same simply because they feel comfortable. Towels, like all things in life, have a season. To cling to them past that season is to welcome not stability, but stagnation. To let go of what has aged beyond usefulness is not loss, it is wisdom. It is the recognition that caring for oneself means renewing what touches us most intimately. And in that renewal, we discover not just external freshness, but a deeper sense of respect for the life we continue to live. Ever noticed how something as simple as fresh linens can lift your spirit, making ordinary routines feel almost luxurious? Share your reflections in the comments. Your story may remind another woman that renewal is one of the quietest yet most powerful forms of self-care.
Habit number 5. Wearing daytime underwear to bed. It may seem harmless. After all, we are only going to bed. Why change? But what many don't realize is that undergarments, worn for hours through heat, movement, and perspiration, absorb sweat, natural oils, and bacteria. When we carry them into the night, those odors settle deeper, pressing against the body for even longer, creating not freshness, but the opposite. My friend Marjorie, a 73-year-old who had always been careful about hygiene, she bathed faithfully and prided herself on looking neat. But she often felt uneasy in the mornings, noticing a stale smell in her sheets and on her skin, despite having showered the night before. It wasn't until her daughter gently suggested she change into fresh underwear before bed that she realized what was happening. Marjorie had worn her daytime undergarments straight through the night, unknowingly giving bacteria a longer chance to multiply. When she began changing into a clean pair before sleep, the difference was immediate. Her mornings felt fresher, her sheets stayed cleaner, and she carried more confidence into the day. Nighttime is a time of renewal, a chance to let the body breathe, restore, and heal. To carry the day's garments into the night is like carrying yesterday's dust into tomorrow's dawn. It weighs us down with what should have been left behind. With age, circulation slows, skin becomes more delicate, and areas of the body that stay covered all day benefit from being allowed to breathe freely at night. Fresh underwear, or for some, simply sleeping without it, gives the skin space to rest, reduces irritation, and prevents odors from clinging through the night. It is not indulgence, but wisdom, the small act of respecting the body's need for renewal. To refresh before sleep is to honor not just hygiene, but dignity, the quiet assurance that we care enough to give ourselves the gift of true rest.
Let's remember the 5 bathroom habits that quietly steal freshness from women over 60. Using too much soap that strips the skin. Neglecting the clothing and fabrics that hold our scent. Overlooking oral care and breath. Holding on to old towels and grooming tools, and wearing daytime underwear into the night. Together, they are not minor mistakes or accidents. They are reminders that dignity and confidence are built in the smallest choices, repeated each day behind closed doors. The women we admire most prove this lesson. Freshness is not about heavy perfumes or endless scrubbing, but about balance, care, and renewal. When we approach our bodies and our routines with gentleness and wisdom, we carry into the world not only a sense of cleanliness, but a fragrance of confidence and self-respect.
And that truth carries not just comfort, but hope, for it shows us that aging does not take away our presence, it refines it into something more authentic. Before you go, tap that like button and subscribe to Wise Life After 60, where we share timeless wisdom for love, aging, and living with grace and confidence. Thank you for watching. And remember, the quietest habits, the ones no one sees, are often the ones that speak most loudly about how we choose to honor ourselves.